Feeling like you've underperformed in an exam can be absolutely devastating. When I had my Cambridge interview and I thought I underperformed, I was crying myself to sleep for multiple weeks. It was not a fun time, and it feels like that if you come out of an exam and think, gosh, I wish that had gone better. But there are things that you can do, and this is how you're going to bounce back and make sure that that doesn't affect your subsequent exams, because we're right at the start of exam season right now, and you can't be letting one bad exam affect your grades for other subjects, for other papers in the same subject. Let's talk about how you're going to fix things. What I'm not going to do is sit here and tell you that it absolutely doesn't matter because GCSEs don't matter, because A-levels don't matter, because the exam that you're doing doesn't matter. It does. And it clearly does to you because you're feeling upset about it. If you genuinely thought the exam didn't matter, you wouldn't be upset. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you otherwise. It matters and it sucks and it feels awful when it doesn't go your way. But don't panic, because it's not your only exam. That is very true. It's not the only exam that you're having this exam period. You're not in a life or death situation over whether or not you pass this exam. Worst case scenario, that this means that you don't get a passing grade in English or maths, you've got an opportunity to resit the next year. Worst case scenario, if this means you don't get a grade that you need to meet your university offer, you can go through clearing. To get into the sixth form that you want, they're likely to be quite lenient, or you'll be able to go somewhere else. But you've got to accept that those are possibilities, that if the exam didn't go your way, it might be that you don't get the outcome of this exam season that you want, particularly if you felt that way in multiple papers. If it's one paper of an exam that has multiple papers, you know where to put in your effort. You know that you really need to be honing in on the subsequent papers. You know that you really need to be prioritising them, because doing well in those papers is going to increase the grade from this paper that you didn't feel like you did very well in. And that is a lot of pressure. But a lot of the time we perform under pressure. And as long as you're not piling on enough pressure that it's, absolutely crushing you, reframe. Make that pressure not something I need to do this, otherwise I'm going to fail. Make that pressure, I'm going to do this because I can, because I know I can get that grade that I want. Immediately after the exam, I want you to just take a complete mental break. Don't study that day, because you're going to be studying upset. And you can use being upset, feeling angry, feeling disappointed to fuel studying, but not immediately after, because that is just going to be piling on so much pressure, too much emotion for you to actually be focusing on the work in front of you. So I want you to take a break. I don't want you to be comparing marks. Please do not go in the student room and try and tot up the marks that you got, because those unofficial mark schemes, 9 times out of 10, are incorrect anyway. And people just like to lie on the student room and pretend that they did amazing and go, oh, that was the easiest paper ever, even if everyone else is finding it very, very hard. So please don't hurt yourself by doing that. Just take a bit of a break and don't obsess over your mistakes. Don't be replaying the exam in your head. What is written on that sheet of paper has been written on that sheet of paper. And no amount of you thinking about it is going to change what was written on that sheet of paper. So you might as well move on to the next. And I know that can be really, really difficult. And me sitting here and telling you to do that is not necessarily going to help you. But I want you to know that that is the best practice, and it might take a bit of time. That's why you're going to take this evening off. That's why you're not going to compare answers. That's why you're going to try and occupy yourself with other things, whether that's going for a run, whether that is baking, whether that is watching your favourite TV show. Do something that's just going to take your mind off that exam and allow you to wake up the next day with a refreshed mindset. And with this refreshed mindset, I do want you to take a bit of time to think about what went wrong. Was it that your time management wasn't very good? Was it that you misunderstood the questions? Was it that you don't think you prepared enough for that exam, that you had a lack of content knowledge? Or was it that you were just stressed, that you just blanked out, that things just did not go your way that day? Try and identify it, and then based on that, I want you to change. So if it's your amount of revision, you know that you need to be putting in more effort for the rest of the exam season. If it's that you were super stressed, you want to be thinking about creating a pre-exam routine that is going to decrease that stress. Things like doing a 10-minute meditation. It sounds ridiculous. I meditated every evening during GCSEs and it kept me sane. It sounds ridiculous and you might feel ridiculous the first couple of times doing it, but the benefits will be there. And if it's something like misunderstanding questions, you know that you need to be looking more at past papers. You need to be seeing exactly what examiners are looking for by reading examiners' reports. If it's timing issues, that just comes with practice, and it comes with being really ruthless, where you're sat in the exam, you're looking at the clock, you're thinking, gosh, I'm 5 minutes over for this question, you've just got to move on. Even if you're like, I'm mid-sentence, move on. Finish that set and move on. don't write a conclusion, just move on. You've got to be ruthless at some point, because the extra marks that you would get by putting in a conclusion are not worth the marks that you would be losing from not starting the next question. And then you've just got to implement these things, and you've just got to move on, and you've got to get to the next exam and not let the previous exams define your academic ability. You've just got to sit down and answer the next questions to the best of your ability based on everything that you've learned from that one exam that didn't go well. Again, that's easier said than done, but that's what has to be done. I really hope this helps. Particularly, I know there are a lot of people who came out of their GCSE English Literature paper 2 feeling like they did not do as well as they wanted. And I hope this video helps you to progress through the rest of the exam season, feeling a bit calmer, a bit more reassured, a bit less stressed, and a bit more able to tackle the remaining papers with as much effort and, I want to say enthusiasm, but that's probably not going to come, as you possibly can. See you in the next video.